In an era when ancient Egypt was immersed in apparent splendor, a heavy oppression cast its shadow over the people of Israel behind the scenes. Pharaoh, a proud and tyrannical king, sat on the throne and claimed divinity. He feared the future that the priests and astrologers had foretold for him. The prophecies had foretold that a child would be born from among the Israelites who would bring about the downfall of his throne and crown. For this reason, he issued a merciless decree. Every newborn boy born to the Israelites was to be killed. The cries of mothers and the laments of fathers echoed through the streets of Egypt, and many hearts were broken under the blade of this decree. At this time, a faithful and pure-hearted woman from the family of the Israelites was pregnant. She was the mother of Moses. With every heartbeat of the child within her, she felt a deep fear in her heart. But God sent tranquility upon her heart. On the day Moses was born, a light shone in their dark home. The child's eyes sparkled like a star, but the shadow of death was lurking nearby. His mother was worried for his life and did not know how to hide him from Pharaoh's executioners. In those very moments, divine inspiration shone upon the heart of Moses' mother. Nurse him, and when you fear for his life, cast him into the Nile and do not grieve, for we will return him to you and make him one of our prophets. The mother's heart was strengthened by faith. She made a small chest. She wrapped her baby in soft cloths and, with tears and prayers, entrusted the chest to the gentle current of the Nile. The water became Moses' cradle, and God's hands were his protector. The Nile carried the chest gently toward Pharaoh's palace. Pharaoh's wife, Asiya, was a pure and kind-hearted woman who, unlike her husband, had a heart full of faith. She opened the chest and saw the child's face. The light shining from Moses' eyes captivated her heart. Without hesitation, she said, "This child is the light of my eyes and yours. Do not kill him. Perhaps he will benefit us, or we may take him as our own child." At first, Pharaoh hesitated, but Asiya's gaze was so firm and full of affection that he finally agreed. And so it was that Moses was raised in the house of his enemy. But God had another plan. The infant Moses would not accept the breast of any wet nurse. The gods became desperate and searched for a woman whose milk the child might accept. At that moment, Moses' sister, who had been tasked with watching over her brother from a distance, cleverly said, "I know a family who can take care of him." And so it was that Moses' mother was reunited with her child. The child was under the care of Pharaoh's daughter. The mother's heart was full of gratitude, and God's promise had been fulfilled. Years passed. Moses grew up in Pharaoh's palace and became a strong and handsome young man. He advanced in knowledge and wisdom, and the people of Egypt looked up to him with admiration. Despite all this, his heart was always with his own people, and he never forgot the suffering of the children of Israel. One day in his youth, when he had come to the city, he saw two men fighting. One was from the children of Israel, and the other was a Copt from Pharaoh's people. The Israelite man asked Moses for help. With a single punch, Moses knocked the Copt to the ground, and he died. Moses trembled and said, "This was the work of Satan." He realized that, without intending to kill, he had shed blood. Fear took hold of him, and he prayed in his heart, "Lord, forgive me. I regret my actions," and God forgave him. News of this incident spread throughout the city. The next day, the same Israelite man got into another fight and again asked Moses for help. Moses said to him, "You are clearly a quarrelsome man. Stay away from me." Meanwhile, a man came running from a distant place and informed Moses, "O Moses, the nobles of the court have gathered to kill you. Flee." Worried, Moses left the city and set out on the road toward Midian, without having a clear destination. A long and difficult journey. He was alone and hungry, but his heart was at peace, remembering God. After days of travel, he arrived in the land of Midian. By a well, a group of men were watering their animals, and nearby stood two young women who could not approach the water. Moses went to them and asked in a noble tone, "Why are you standing aside?" They said, "Our old father is weak, and we have to water the sheep ourselves, but the men do not let us approach." Moses felt compassion and watered the animals for them. Then he sat under the shade of a tree and, looking up to the sky, said, "My Lord, I am in need of whatever good you may send to me." A few moments later, one of the girls, with remarkable modesty, came to him and said, "My father is calling you so he can reward you for your good deed." Moses went to see the old man. Shu'aib the prophet, Moses, told him his story, and Shu'aib comforted him. "Do not be afraid, you have escaped from the wrongdoing people." Shu'aib recognized Moses' wisdom and purity, and gave one of his daughters to him in marriage, on the condition that he would shepherd for him for several years. Moses accepted and lived in Midian for many years, in peace and work, so that his soul would grow stronger and his heart more mature. After some time had passed, Moses set out for Egypt with his family. On the way, in the cold darkness of night, he saw a fire on Mount Tur. He told his family, "Stay here. Perhaps I can bring you some news from the fire, or a flame so you can warm yourself." But when he approached the fire, a brilliant light enveloped him, and a heavenly voice called out, "O Moses, I am the Lord of the worlds. Take off your sandals, for you are in the sacred valley of Tua. I have chosen you." So listen to what is revealed to you. Moses stood trembling and astonished before God. Then a great mission was entrusted to him. "Go to Pharaoh, for he has transgressed." Moses was afraid. "My Lord, I have a tongue that is tied, and I fear they will deny me. Make my brother Aaron my helper." God answered his prayer and made Aaron his ally. Moses set out for Egypt with the signs of God. He stood before Pharaoh and delivered God's message. "O Pharaoh, set God's servants free and let them go with me." Pharaoh laughed arrogantly and said, "Did we not raise you as a child? And did you not live among us for years? Now with what face have you come?" Moses replied, "It is true, but I committed that act out of ignorance, and my Lord forgave me and made me one of his prophets." Then Moses cast down his staff, and by God's permission, it turned into a great serpent. He drew out his hand, and it shone like the sun. But Pharaoh said, "This is sorcery." He summoned the magicians of Egypt to confront Moses. On a great day, the city square was filled. The magicians threw down their ropes and staffs, and they appeared as writhing serpents. Moses felt a fear in his heart. But God said, "Do not be afraid, you are superior." Moses cast down his staff, and it turned into a real serpent. It swallowed up all the ropes and implements. The magicians realized that this was not human magic, but a divine sign. They fell in prostration and said, "We believe in the Lord of Moses and Aaron." Pharaoh's anger flared, and he threatened them with torture. But faith became as steadfast as a mountain in their hearts, while Pharaoh grew even more obstinate. One calamity after another descended upon his people: floods, locusts, lice, frogs, and blood. But every time the calamity was lifted, they broke their promise again. Finally, the divine command came for Moses to lead the children of Israel out of Egypt by night. The night of escape arrived. Moses gathered his people, and in the silence of the night, they set out toward the sea. At dawn, Pharaoh and his army learned of it and, enraged, set out in pursuit of them. The children of Israel stood before the vast sea, while behind them, Pharaoh's iron army was drawing near. Fear gripped their hearts. "O Moses, we are trapped." But Moses, full of faith, said, "No, my Lord is with me. He will guide me." And at that moment, revelation came. "Strike the sea with your staff." Moses struck the water with his staff, and the mighty sea was split apart. Each section stood firm like a wall, and a dry path appeared in between. The Israelites, astonished yet hurried, moved along the path. When the last person had crossed, Pharaoh and his army gave chase and were caught in the middle of the sea. The divine command came, and the walls of water collapsed. They were all drowned. In his final moments, Pharaoh cried out, "I believe in the God in whom the Israelites believe." But the answer came, "Now, while before you were rebellious, today we will save your body so that you may be a lesson for those who come after you." The Israelites crossed to the other shore, were saved, and became free. Moses stood atop the summit of prophethood. He who, as a child, was placed in a small basket upon the waves of the Nile, but by God's will, parted the sea and delivered his people. This was the story of a prophet who, with faith, patience, and God's help, brought an end to the tyranny of Pharaoh and became immortalized in the heart of history. Moses set out on a great journey, a journey that would change the destiny of a nation. Watch the continuation of this story in the second episode.